Hello everyone and welcome to my COD Zombies Retrospective series, a series in which we take a look back at every Call of Duty Zombies map's history, story, lore, cut content and all that good stuff. But today I'm feeling rather presidential, as today we're venturing into the Black Ops 1 map 5.
Any last words, Mr. President?
Yes, Jack. Any superlative words of inspiration for our humble troops?
Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men.
Five launching as a day one map for Call of Duty Black Ops 1 is a very unique experience indeed. I remember back in the day beating the Black Ops 1 campaign, or if you're a cheater, going to the terminal in the main menu and typing in the code to unlock the map early, as well as Dead Ops Arcade. And then after I was, finished with the campaign, I was then greeted with 5. Similar to how you were greeted with Nacta and Toten after beating World at War's campaign, it gave me, very much the same feeling, as World at War was my first ever Call of Duty, so I remember getting Black Ops 1 and just being surprised they did a very similar thing here. But 5 actually reuses assets from the Black Ops 1 campaign, the campaign level where you actually go into the Pentagon with Mason. A lot of that is reused in 5, including the war rooms, sort of the outside offices and more, with the lab then being later added in to 5. 5 has the map's description as follows. The Pentagon is under attack. Washington is going to DEFCON 1 in this installment of Zombies. 5 is not only the first Call of Duty Zombies map that based on American soil, as all of the maps before World at War were based in sort of World War II in Germany or Japan with Shinonuma, and then obviously Kino was also in Germany. 5 is the first American map, and it's the first time we sort of venture outside of the World War II conflict, going into the Cold War. So let's talk about the map's lore and overall story. Well, 5, which is a reference to the location it takes place in, the Pentagon in 1963, the United States military defense building located in Arlington, Virginia. 5 was the first ever map to feature 4 significant real-life figures from the Cold War era. These including John F. Kennedy, who was the President of the United States at the time, Robert McNamara, who was the US Secretary of Defense at the time, Richard Nixon, who at the time of the map was a US presidential candidate, and then later became the Vice President and then the President of the United States, and then finally ending off with Fidel Castro, who was the Prime Minister of Cuba. These characters really make the core essence of the map, with JFK, Robert McNamara, and Richard Nixon, and Fidel Castro as well, I suppose, all having fantastic quotes. I remember me and my friends back in the day were just hoping, fingers crossed, you'd either get John F. Kennedy or Richard Nixon. But did you know this even started some controversies in real life, as I'll talk about a bit later in the video, but 5 features in the zombie storyline by featuring in the 1960s, with Group 935 having been disbanded after World War II. The Soviets then find Richtofen's diary in Deriza, where he left it on the floor. The diary then becomes a race between the Americans and the Soviets during the Cold War to see who can replace 935's research and replicate it, replacing 935 as the key power in creating zombies, researching Element 115, as well as wonder weapons. It's here where the Pentagon even begin making their own wonder weapons, like the Winter's Howl for example. We also see within the map itself research performed at Groom Lake, experiments with the Nova 6 gas crawlers, as well as pigs beneath the labs. But to flash forward to 1963, here a meeting to discuss and sort out the Cuban Missile Crisis, as well as to discuss the Broken Arrow Initiative, which takes place in between the Pentagon, in between the powers of the US and Fidel Castro representing Cuba. It's here where a zombie outbreak takes place due to the events at Ascension, which takes place at the same time as 5, as radios can be heard between both maps in Ascension. Samantha, who is in control of the zombies at this point in the timeline, starts an outbreak at the Ascension facility and then sends corrupt scientist Yuri, better known as the Pentagon Thief, to the Pentagon to kill the crew at 5. After which the president and the crew fight off the zombie horde. The US government is then forced to take the Broken Arrow Initiative and Research Group and create it to treat the threat of Samantha as well as the zombie outbreaks in Element 115 more seriously, as at this point America hadn't really been involved. It was more with Division 9 in Japan and Group 935 in Germany. It is unknown what happened to the crew afterwards. However, hiding in a closet at the Pentagon, Robert McNamara records a message in a radio confirming that John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon and Fidel Castro have died as a result of the zombie outbreak in 5. McNamara then seemingly dies later, however we then see him pop up in Classified, which I'll talk about a bit later. So let's talk about the gameplay as well as the map features. Well, 5 is very much overshadowed and underappreciated in the zombies community compared to its predecessor Kino der Toten, which also launched with Black Ops 1, and I've already talked about it in this series if you want to go watch my video on Kino. But why is this? Well, a lot of players, especially at the time, said 5 was just too hard of a map compared to Kino. It's tight, claustrophobic, and takes patience to train in the war room, and then, the absolute mad lads that train in the labs. 5 is separated into 3 key sections which kind of work as tiers with elevators in between. You have the offices, the war room and the labs. You actually first, when you start the match, spawn in the offices, which is a very tight area featuring the main spawn room with 2 corridors either side of it. Here you can find perks and for the first time an elevator in a zombies map to take you up and down into the Pentagon's depths. Here we get the elevator, which is a corridor going down featuring the elevator with some very calm, nice, chill elevator music. If you then pay for the elevator, it takes you to the Pentagon's war room, and then here we have the return of the electro traps as well in the offices. With one change, however, 5 is actually the first ever zombies map to feature buildables with parts. Here you can find the red switches and red boxes around the map, and then placing them back into the spawn area traps, they can be used to turn on the electro traps near the spawn, and these are really excellent for high round strats. I feel like after a while it becomes impossible to train in the war room, so people use these electro traps to get to, the 100s and 200s, etc. The elevator also makes for an early round camping strategy. Okay, so now going down into the war room from the elevator. The war room is the main section of the map featuring monitors, a catwalk, and a lower level to train in. It takes patience and skill to train here, especially in Black Ops 1 with the 2-hit down system, especially earlier on. And again, you're very much in the, I guess, the RNG of the box, especially in Black Ops 1. But 5 also features the brand new DEFCON system, exclusive to the maps 5 and Classified. After turning the power on in the labs, the player can then turn on DEFCON switches around the room in the war room to reach the panic room, featuring another camping strat area as well as the pack-a-punch machine and a few little Easter eggs scattered about. Here the door then opens again, where Juggernog is retained, and a few dogs can also spawn in as well. Okay, so going down further now into the labs. Well, the labs feature American experiments, the Bowie knife, the power switch, as well as the reintroduction of the teleporters. However, these teleporters are very different to the ones seen in Kino and Deriza. These teleporters in 5 are completely random and basically based on RNG, and can teleport players anywhere in the 3 levels in the offices, war room or labs, making it either something to get out of a sticky situation. Maybe you're trapped in a corner by hundreds of zombies and you just access a teleporter and get away onto another level entirely, or this could be a really frustrating way to bypass the elevators. I know personally, in recording the footage for this video, I got really annoyed and in the end I just took the elevator because the teleporters were just completely random, and at times I found myself just stuck in the lab, just switching between the different teleporters and just waiting to be taken to either the offices or back to the war room so I could continue training. 5 doesn't feature dog rounds, but instead features the Pentagon Thief. After switching the power on in the labs, the Pentagon Thief then runs around the map once shot by a player, and he then runs after you trying to steal your weapons. If he catches you, he steals your main gun that you're holding in your hand at that moment, and then runs away. Now, this sounds very frustrating because it is, but if caught and killed, if you actually run after the Pentagon Thief and kill him, he can actually not only drop a max ammo, but can also drop a brand new bonfire sale drop, which discounts the Pack-a-Punch to only 1,000 points, which is kind of like the fire sale but for the Pack-a-Punch. But the trade-off here is very high, as he can permanently steal perhaps a ray gun or a wonder weapon or a Pack-a-Punch weapon that you've saved up and used all your money to buy. If you don't kill him in time, especially on the higher rounds, he can just steal your weapon forever, and this is why a lot of people think he's very frustrating, but I think the Pentagon Thief is a very key aspect to 5. I feel like without the Pentagon Thief, it just wouldn't be 5. 5 also features a brand new wonder weapon, being the Winter's Howl. This gun is probably one of the worst wonder weapons of all time in my opinion, as it fires an icy blast freezing the zombies, but it also not only runs out of ammo very quickly, but falls off in damage in the 20s and 30s, especially even Pack-a-Punched, making it not very viable for high round strats. This sadly carries over to Black Ops 4's Classified as well. So let's now switch things up and talk about the appearances of the map 5, as well as all the different cameos it makes throughout the storyline. Well, many of the maps covered in this series so far sometimes feature in multiple games. Sometimes, for example, Deriza features in World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 3, etc. But 5 is actually one of the only maps to be exclusive to its game of origin. It's most likely due to the fact that the real-world aspects and controversies of the map using JFK and co, but who knows, one day it might come back in its OG format. They might remaster it for, Black Ops 6 or something like that. Again, only time will tell. But in regards to 5, the map has had a lot of controversies in real life, with family members of Fidel Castro actually suing Activision and Treyarch and John F. Kennedy and so on. This map is just no stranger to controversies, and it's kind of sad to see, as this is just it's just such a unique experience having, 2 presidents, the president of Cuba and McNamara as well. It's just such a unique experience, and I think it really makes the map fit in with the Cold War era and real life. Many fans were even sad that the map never was remade in Black Ops 3 and wasn't included in Zombie Chronicles, after fans basically begged Treyarch and Activision for maps like Mob of the Dead, Court of the Dead, as well as the Black Ops 2 Victus maps. Treyarch finally announced that within Black Ops 4, if you pre-ordered the game or got the season pass, Black Ops 4 would actually launch with a new map called Classified, which then later turned out to be a remake of the map 5, taking place in between the events in the story of Shangri-La and Moon, which features the Ultimus characters basically taking part in Richtofen's Grand Scream and then somehow making it to the Pentagon, and then the story gets a bit crazy and branches off into the Black Ops 4 storyline. Now, I won't cover Classified much as it deserves its own dedicated video, but Classified is still a full remake of the map we're covering today, 5, even referencing the past events from the map, new Easter eggs, as well as changes to the teleport system, making it more user-friendly where you can actually see which area you're going to, and then including new areas entirely, including changing the Pack-a-Punch location to Groom Lake, which is Area 51 from Moon. In terms of other versions of 5, sadly there just aren't any after researching this video. 5 wasn't even included in the Wii version of Black Ops 1 due to sort of data issues, and that's a bit of a shame because Black Ops 1 on the Wii is very much its own experience. I'll definitely cover it on the channel one day, but yeah, sadly 5 just doesn't really appear again, but who knows, we might see it appear in Black Ops 6 or going into the Dark Ether storyline in the future. So next up we're talking about Easter eggs, and 5 doesn't actually feature an Easter egg quest or in-game side quest, as these really just weren't in Black Ops 1 yet in the storyline, and they didn't really feature until the map Ascension, which is the next map we're probably going to cover on the series. Now there was an Easter egg quest in the remake Classified, but 5 itself exists as a very much standalone experience. The only addition after the launch was actually Mule Kick, which was added into the War Room as a part of the Resurrection map pack in DLC 4 for Black Ops 1. The map does feature notes, many out-of-bounds secrets, radios, and features in Ascension. If you go to Ascension, you can actually hear radios from the map 5, but it wasn't until Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4 where 5 was really heavily actually tied into the overall storyline, as back in Black Ops 1 it was very much a standalone experience and an Easter egg if you beat the campaign. But in Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, it was then tied into where it went with the EVA storyline. It was then tied into Group 935, the Ascension Group, Division 9, Broken Arrow, as well as including Robert McNamara in things like the map Alpha Omega, as well as Tag de Toten. However, one big Easter egg in the map is the musical Easter egg, which instead in 5 you can find by going around the map and interacting with 3 red flashing telephones. Now 5 is a very unique experience, like I keep saying throughout the video, and 5 is actually the first ever map to feature a third party musical Easter egg. Usually all of the songs are done by Kevin Sherwood. However, 5 actually features the song Won't Back Down by Eminem and Pink. The map had a different Easter egg song in Classified, but for 5 it was this absolute banger. I'm a big fan of Eminem, so at the time this was just such a delight for me to listen to. I really recommend, if you're playing in a co-op match with 4 players, just activating this song. Be careful if you're streaming, because obviously you're going to have copyright issues, but just activate this song and you're going to have loads of fun, as it's just an absolute banger. And I think it perfectly fits this map, as this map in of itself is a bit of a standalone experience and an Easter egg for the campaign. Okay, so welcome back to Trivia Time. This is the section of the video where I talk about trivia of the map, like fun facts, as well as cut content. So let's get right into it. So did you know the theme song for the overall zombies mode from Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, etc. called Damned, which is a song written by Kevin Sherwood. You know, it's the piano theme that plays in the background of most of the main menus for zombies, can actually faintly be heard on this map. It's in the background at all times. A lot of people have actually asked Activision and Treyarch, is this a glitch or a bug? Unfortunately, they've never really made a comment on this, as it just feels very out of place and it feels really weird for the map. Did you know there is a portrait of Dr. Richtofen in the Panic Room, and on the map Classified can even be interacted with. It's also the blank portrait matching the portraits that can be found in Kino de Toten, which appear in the Panic Room. In a cipher on the map Classified, which is obviously the remake of 5, it was explained that the portrait is actually a part of Richtofen's deal with the Americans. As part of this deal, he asked the Pentagon to put a portrait of himself. What a mad lad. Did you know there is a television above each mystery box location which can be used to locate the mystery box? This feature also returns in later zombies maps such as Ascension. Did you know in the hallway there are actually several pictures referencing the game Call of Duty World at War, which obviously came before as Treyarch's game before Black Ops 1, such as a plaque mentioning the Battle of Peleliu and Sergeant Roebuck. And finally, did you know there's also a magazine that could be found in the Panic Room referencing the Cosmic Silverback Gorilla from Dead Ops Arcade, which also launched with Black Ops 1 and is a different experience in of itself, and I'll definitely cover Dead Ops Arcade on the channel, don't you worry. So in conclusion, 5 is a unique experience that just screams Black Ops 1, from everything with the numbers and the teleporters ripped straight from the campaign, the Cold War theming as well as the time period, and with this even being the first map to feature a real life cast with JFK, Nixon, etc. But I believe 5 is more so forgotten when it comes to Black Ops 1 because of how hard the map can be. From the Winter's Howl's really lackluster damage, especially going into the later rounds, to the Pentagon Thief as well as the Black Ops 1 tight game design layouts, 5 is hard without training in the war room. I personally enjoy 5, but I prefer Classified as there's a lot more to do on the remake and it's a lot easier to play, even with the Winter's Howl still being absolute crap in Classified, but hopefully the Zombies community doesn't forget this iconic classic. 5 is very much a Black Ops 1 experience. It's just such a cool map with even the Eminem Easter egg song, and again there's just something special about just chasing the Pentagon Thief after he's stolen your Pack-a-Punch ray gun and getting it back, and not only that, being rewarded with a bonfire sale. It's just a really great experience. I like playing 5 as a one-off. I like playing with my friends as like a one-off experience. Maybe, I don't know, maybe once every year we come back and play 5. But to be honest, this isn't a map that I'll find myself regularly playing, and to be honest, outside of recording footage for this video, I haven't really played 5 in a while. So that's it everyone, thank you so much for watching the Zombies Retrospective series today. If you want videos on Kino der Toten or Dereza or any other of the maps from World at War or Black Ops 1, don't forget to check out the playlist that's in the description as well as at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and tell me in the comments below, what do you think about the map 5? And don't worry, we will be covering its remake Classified on the series in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video today, I hope you all have a great day, and take care. Bye.